Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. Back with another episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And we've discussed this topic numerous times, different numbers we throw out 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, what have you. Talking about how much money does it take nowadays to be comfortable. Not just to make it, not to live check to check, not just to get by, but to actually have a comfortable, good life to live the so called American dream. That's what you're really gonna need. But anyway, exactly how much would you need in this economy, this day and time? Especially if you live in America, how much you gonna need to live a comfortable life? I notice a trend that's happening right now. We once had the passport bros going to other countries for a chance at finding a better quality mate, a woman. A woman with old traditional ways to marry, have a family with. The Western woman, that's pretty much out the question. Not all of y'all. But for a man looking for a wife, an old-fashioned, old-school woman type value for a wife, and you were in America, that was pretty much damn near impossible. So a lot of men were getting their passports and getting up out of here, going to different destinations around the world, where the culture is different, where the women are raised different, believe different, talk different, live different. So now we have the same trend going with people leaving America to be able to afford to live. It's gotten to the point in America where Americans can't afford to be Americans. America is only for the rich now. It's not for the everyday common man. So, how much will it take for you to be able to live in America? Let's take a deeper look.
More than half of Americans say they would need at least $100,000 a year to be financially comfortable.
The benchmark of a six-figure salary used to be the gold standard income. It represented the tipping point of finally earning a disposable income and building a savings, spending based on your wants, not just your needs.
The American dream is what makes a middle-class lifestyle. You're able to pay your bills. You're able to put food on the table, put a roof over your family's head, and you have some additional savings.
Now, people making well over six figures are still living paycheck to paycheck. What used to symbolize financial now keeping people stressed about making ends meet.
26% say they would need more. A salary in the range of $100,000 to $149,000 per year would make them feel financially comfortable.
I think unfortunately what has happened is that wages haven't kept up with the cost of living by and large for the last 50 years or so. And so it becomes increasingly hard for many families to be able to attain that sort of middle class lifestyle, that American dream.
How much you need to feel financially secure varies so much depending on not only your geographical location, but of course your lifestyle. It used to be that a six-figure salary was like the gold standard. But nowadays, that may not be enough to make ends meet in certain parts of the country, especially like New York or San Francisco, where it costs so much more just to cover your daily expenses.
Here's why a $100,000 household income no longer buys the American dream. It's analyzed how much a family of 2 adults and 2 children would need in each state to own a home, a car, and a pet, as well as have an additional 20% of their income for savings and 30% for discretionary spending.
The core of what the American dream means is some amount of economic security, that you feel like you can get by and do a bit better. Maybe do better than your parents, maybe be able to afford a house, certainly be able to save for your children's future.
All 50 states require more than a $100,000 annual income. with 38 states needing more than $140,000. The most affordable states, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Kentucky, need between $109,000 and $117,000. The median income for a household of 4 people in each of those states in 2022 was between $71,000 and $87,000. Hawaii, California, and Massachusetts are the most expensive. Each requires an annual income of more than $240,000. The median income for a family of 4 in those 3 states in 2022 fell at least $94,000 short of what's required for the American dream. A different analysis from EPI found that in about 80% of the country, a family
Not looking good. When the average salary in America, depends on where you look, some say 62,000. That's way high. Ain't no average American making no $62,000 a year. Unless they not on one job working 40 hours, put it that way. If the average American is making $62,000 a year, they got 3 jobs, sun up to sundown, no quality of life. That's to make $62,000. What now they're saying is the average. And even with that ain't nowhere near enough if you got a family. There's people that's gonna come on here saying that's plenty for me. They living out in the boondocks somewhere. They eating ramen noodles on Christmas. Ramen noodles is a special dinner night for them. The people who making these 40 and 50 talking about these, I do good on that. Go check their cupboard, cabinets, refrigerator, and see what they got in there. Every flavor of bologna you can think of is in that refrigerator. Them people that talking about they do good on 50,000 in America right now. Are you looking at homes? They got roaches as guard dogs. Cause of the neighborhood they live in is run down. The way you doing good on 50,000 in this America, when everybody else looking around like, man, I can't pay nothing. You're gonna still have people talking about you living beyond your means. You're spending too much. You need to cut back on what, man? Can I really go tell this person I'm renting this house from, and then cut back on that rent? Alabama Power, cut back on the rate so I can actually turn my air conditioner on when it's hot. Cut back on them rates. Gas pump, cut back on that gallon of gas. Y'all telling us we need to cut back on what? We done cut till we bleed. Can't cut no more. We need some outside help. They need to start cutting.
A family of 4 can afford their basic needs on less than $100,000 per year. Those include things such as housing, food, transportation, healthcare, childcare, taxes, and a few other basic necessities.
It doesn't take into account anything extra. It's really just putting food on the table, putting a roof over your head, getting health care for your family. And so you're not saving for a rainy day if something happens to somebody or if they lose their job. So there's no extra in there for retirement, for kids' college. Those are the kinds of things that many people want to save for. Those are the many things that people consider a part of the American dream.
Only about 3% of those counties have a median income higher than the basic cost of living.
The idea behind the American dream hasn't really changed, even though lifestyles have. It used to be that you could get out of school, get a job, buy a home, and start a family, and now those milestones are harder to achieve.
It used to be that a high.
Now, to those of y'all who say 50,000, you can make it on that. Let's get understanding. We're not talking about just making it. We're not talking about check to check. That's not the topic here. Yes, you can make it on 50,000 if you go find a house in the ghetto, keep all the lights and stuff off when you're at home, and when you're at home, burn candles, put the light on just to take a shower or something. You can make it on 50. Yeah, you can make it. but your quality of life gonna be pathetic. You ain't going nowhere, you ain't doing nothing. Straight home, back home, no extra, no savings, no fun, no enjoyment, just bills and food. That's it. Is that the life? That's not the American dream. That's not the life people working hard to live. We ain't working this hard just to be able just to live. Nothing else. You live in this big, beautiful world, and you can't partake in none of it if it ain't like in walking distance and free. So that's what we mean when we say you can't make it off 60,000, 50,000 with a family. It means you ain't gonna have nothing saved up, rainy day, emergency, none of that. Trip, vacation, family time, none of that. Bills that you're gonna watch like a hawk. The basic food, like I said, ramen noodles and bologna is gonna be the dinner. No breakfast. Who wanna live like that and work 2 or 3 jobs? And still that's the best you can do. Cause nowadays you can work 2 or 3 jobs and still don't make 60. When in reality, I knew what I was saying, man, that $100,000 don't feel like it. I had got to that point, 6 figures. And when I finally made it there, I'm like, what the fuck, this ain't shit. Like, now I got a few dollars extra left over, but a few. I ain't checking the check, but it's not like booming, like I'm gonna start buying properties and investing and shit. I still gotta watch. And like this year, last year, the year before, my payment, pew. I hit 6 figures, but not for long. So bring your ass right back down here under, come on back down here where you been. Anyway.
Degree, you're good to go. You could get a great job building cars or something and be right in the middle class off of a high school degree. But now, in order to get into the middle class, a high school...
Remember, he just said, y'all remember them times where a high school diploma was all you needed. College was even extra, but if you had a high school diploma, you could still be good.
Degree is clearly not enough, right? Now, you gotta pay for college.
People are graduating with much larger student loan balances, and then it's harder to be on that same sort of career trajectory that would provide the stability that you maybe would have had a generation ago to save up for the down payment on a home.
Student loan debt reached an all-time high of $1.77 trillion in the first quarter of 2023. This can have a ripple effect, especially when entire generations are starting their adulthoods with thousands of dollars in debt.
So when we think about the kinds of investments you want to make for your children, the cost of college has gone up a lot faster than overall inflation. So trying to make those investments on a smaller and smaller paycheck compared to the cost of living can be very difficult and almost impossible. And so the kinds of debt that young people can rack up going to college gets larger and larger, and your ability to then make ends meet yourself, be able to buy a car, be able to move out of your parents' house, those things become much more difficult over time.
The American dream typically is people owning property and having children, but that's becoming largely inaccessible for many people. And even those who have attained these things are finding themselves managing every dollar coming in and out just to stay afloat. So that trade-off is underlying the new cost of the American dream.
Millennials and Gen Zers still want to buy homes despite feeling like they can't afford it. 62% of younger millennials and 63% of Gen Zers still say owning a home is part of the American dream. 66% of U.S. renters surveyed say rising prices leave them feeling hopeless about ever owning a home. 72% of respondents say they can't afford the down payment. 17% of all homebuyers said that saving for the down payment was the most difficult task in the buying process, and 52% said student loan debt delayed their ability to save. The typical first-time homebuyer in 2022 had a household income of $95,900. Nationally, a prospective homebuyer would need a nearly $110,000 salary to afford the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payments on a median price home. But the median household income in the United States in 2022 was a little under $75,000.
If you're born into a nice neighborhood in which your parents have lots of wealth and lots of income, your chances of doing well are vastly improved. And part of that's home ownership.
Imagine being
And keep in mind, when they say the median household income, they're usually talking about two people, man and woman, combined, 75,000. Single, they're different categories. I'm telling y'all, they're talking about combined, the family, man, woman, combined income. Now, when you break it down by single household with just one person in the house, it ain't 74,000. Cause I know a lot of y'all saying, dang, I don't make no, how much about average? I don't make no sense. I don't know what near 70,000. More like 40. But if you got with somebody else that's making 40, now your household is 80. Or that's 75 you talking about. That's two people joined together their income. You're 40, they're 25, you're 35, this, 50, that. And even the combined income still ain't enough.
Collectively, Americans owe $1.13 trillion on their credit cards.
Inflation, it's eroding people's purchasing power. It's reducing their ability to save for their future or invest in these long-term goals. So that loss of financial stability can create a sense of powerlessness and insecurity and contribute to feelings of uncertainty and vulnerability. It can really impact people's self-esteem, their resilience, their overall psychological health.
Economists have suggested that debt growth became a substitution for income growth. More than a quarter of Americans said that they are doom spending or spending money despite economic concerns.
There's also this idea that young adults are feeling more discouraged in their own financial standing. So in that way, they're less inclined to even save for long-term goals and more likely to just live in the moment. It's just sort of that mentality, like you only live once, I may not buy.
That's what I told y'all on the last video, doom spending, before I even saw this video. That's what it is. When you see people still buying stuff and you wonder how they buying stuff when times so hard, I thought everybody was broke. They just saying the hell with it. I'm going to just buy it anyway. Even though I ain't going to have nothing nowhere. I might as well enjoy this, live in the moment.
Anyway, so let's take that trip or let's go to that event, whether it's a Taylor Swift concert or other, big ticket item.
73% of Gen Zers say the current economy makes it difficult to set up long-term goals.
And it's not just about revenge spending. It's just about wanting to enjoy life and make the most of what you have, even if you can't necessarily buy that home or, you're not starting a family just yet and you really want to, feel good about yourself in the moment.
People are indulging to the extreme, and I think we often buy because we think that it's gonna change our life or it's gonna give us this emotion that we feel like we're missing, and it's like an endless trail of spending and constantly gonna make us feel empty because we're externalizing something that we need to give to ourselves. I think that's a big issue with consumerism, and it's running rampant.
Social media has changed the conversation so much because there's just been this abundance of the ability to see these glamorous, glorified lifestyles. It's not only celebrities that are presenting.
There you go again. I told y'all, even though you may be looking at somebody looking like they're doing good, taking their little trips in the, pictures in the club. I be in the club, so I know. I see them. I'm in there knowing, hey man, I'm struggling. But everybody else looking like, shit, everybody balling. Everybody rich. Everybody taking selfie. Look at me, look at what I'm eating, look at what I'm doing, and be broke as hell. I told you.
Themselves this way, but even your own peers, which makes a lot of people feel like they're just not measuring up. They can't financially compete with what they're seeing online. It has left a lot of people, especially young adults, feeling very discouraged in their own financial standing. Even if they're doing okay, they just may not feel that way when they compare themselves to what they're seeing on social media.
It's a lie.
Are you able, given kind of the luck of the birth lottery, are you able to have opportunities that are the same as those of people who may have been born into families that are in better circumstances than your own? The American dream is all about it shouldn't matter. The birth lottery shouldn't matter, right? So it's deeply relative.
Oh, he's struggling. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. from some people that smarter than me, allegedly, telling y'all the same thing I've been saying. And you say I'm preaching doom and gloom. I guess they preaching doom and gloom too, because they agree with what I said. They call it revenge spending. I call it doom spending. The people you see on Facebook and whatever, they somewhere here, they there, they crab out, and them folk be broken here. They be trying to fit. It's a bill ain't getting paid that week. I promise you. Don't let them folk fool you. We all struggling, except for a handful, for whatever reason, you know. So let's keep pushing. Do the best you can. Don't give up. That's what I'm gonna do. Got it good. Bye.